Good afternoon, everybody. Bobby Corser, Storm Tracker 2 digital meteorologist with you with your Sunday update on our high-end atmospheric river impact event, really starting kind of late tonight and early tomorrow morning. I will say this. We have talked about how models continue to change, and they have done that from what we saw again on Friday into yesterday and now today. The one change is it now looks a little bit more wet for the Portland metro area, where yesterday was a little bit less wet. And we're going to add in just a little bit more breezy conditions, but again, nothing too extreme here. So want to first start off with showing you the satellite photo that I just snapped here a few minutes ago. And this is just water vapor image, and it just shows you the exact location of where this next atmospheric river is. And this thing is now racing across the Pacific. It will be here later tonight and early into tomorrow morning. You'll see this long plume of green moisture off on the left side of the screen. That's our atmospheric river. It is taking shape and starting to format in that east to west kind of progression that we like to see with these ARs. It's starting to stretch out a little bit, which is very indicative of what we see with atmospheric rivers. Again, it's more like a fire hose pointed at a very small region versus a very strong cold front, you could say, that is in that north to south orientation that kind of impacts Oregon, Washington, California all at once. This atmospheric river looks like it's going to still impact northwest Oregon and southwest Washington, kind of its focus area. There is a dry slot now right off of the Washington and Oregon coastline. If you look outside right now, there are some sun breaks. It's been raining on and off this morning. It's been kind of gusty wind-wise as well. But there is a dry slot that's kind of helping steer where this AR will go. However, unfortunately, this thing is so potent, it's going to kind of push that thing back north, and we're going to be right into the fire hose as we go through tomorrow morning into your day on Monday and then Tuesday. Let's take a look at some of the rainfall stuff since, like I said, we have started to see an increase in rainfall potential. Looking at your time for Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. is the time frame that I've stopped this map at. 3 inches here in Portland, 6.4 in Vancouver. And I want to address this real quick. We saw some of the comments about, well, Vancouver and Portland are really close. Why is Vancouver showing more? The West Hills act as kind of a rain shadow for downtown Portland. And the number that we give you on our maps is kind of a hybrid between the airport and downtown. So say like northeast Portland. I'll say, let's use Katu as an example. We're at 21st and Sandy. That's a good representation of the Portland number that would fall. So Vancouver is on the north side of the Columbia River, as we all know, but that is kind of out of the rain shadow of the West Hills, so they can see actually more rain than Portland generally does. That doesn't happen all the time, but computer models really say that this main plume of moisture will impact more of Vancouver than Northeast Portland. I'm not so sure about that. We're going to go with what the models tell us, but I'm going to say take that Vancouver number with a grain of salt and maybe go 2/3 of the actual forecast amount we see here on the models. I think it's closer to what we see in Portland. It will be maybe more than what we see in Portland, but I think they're very comparative. So just a grain of salt when you see this Vancouver number. So it's saying 6.4 in Vancouver, 3 in Portland. I'm going to say maybe 5 in Vancouver and 3 in Portland is more believable. All along the Oregon coast, we're already seeing amounts 4 to 5 inches. We're seeing over 4 in Astoria, 5 in Tillamook, 5 in Newport, even down on the mid and central Oregon coast in Florence, 2.5 inches. In the Willamette Valley, again, it's pretty impressive so far. 2 inches in Salem, just approaching about 1.6 in Eugene. Let's fast forward now 24 hours. Let's look at what we're seeing on Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Vancouver up to 11 inches. Again, let's take that with a grain of salt, maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 8. Portland, 4.3. About a 1.3 inch increase. I think we see a little bit more than that. So I'm going to say Portland maybe at 5 inches there. Salem just nearing 3 inches. Eugene picked up a little bit more, not much, approaching 2 inches. Out along the Oregon coast, though, look at that rapid rise in Tillamook, 8.9 inches of rain forecast. Newport, almost 4 more inches of rain now. They're at 9 inches. Astoria, 6.5. That AR is going to start on that South Washington coast and slowly sag south. So that's why we're starting to see these numbers kind of increase around Newport and Tillamook. Out on the Oregon coast, again, we will see winds increase. I don't see anything above really 40 miles an hour, sustained winds. Gusting, we might see a gust or two above 40. It's just not a high, really windy event. This is not your typical cold front where we would see those rapid increases in wind. It will be blustery. In the Willamette Valley, will be blustery on the coast. I just don't see winds sustained really above 40 miles an hour. Gusting, yes, but maybe not along the Oregon coast. In the valley, I think wind sustained probably 15 to 20, gusts maybe as high as 25 or 30. There will be some power outages, but I don't think this is a widespread wind event. Let's look at your model forecast. So this is the 5 models. I love showing this frame. This looks at the Euro, the American model, the GFS, our 2 in-house models that we have here at Katu, the Baron 3K and the Baron 15K, and then the NAM. This is ending Wednesday at 7:30, so we're pushing this out now as this AR event begins to wind down on Wednesday. The Euro says 4.8, the GFS says 6.1, 4.1 on the Baron's 3K, 6.7 on the Baron 15K. When we ran this model and I showed you this frame yesterday, and when we were looking at this on Friday, that Baron 15K had numbers near 10 inches in Portland. That's backed off, but I think, again, it was different solutions, different models have different inputs, and so you get some bad data in, you get bad data out. I think we are now at the point where everything has kind of come together. It's more congealed. We have a better idea of what will happen. And so, again, the average consensus here across these 5 models is just about 4.5 to 5 inches. I'm happy with that. I think that's a really good solution. Again, I think the NAM is downplaying this. I think they're saying, you can get much more effect of that rain shadow from the West Hills than we actually will. I think we do see more rain than what the NAM says. So that's what we are looking at. Now, obviously, a lot of water is going to fall. A lot of rivers will rise. There is a flood watch that will go into effect tonight for all of Western Oregon and Southwest Washington. The National Weather Service is saying, coastal rivers will rise, and we'll get to some of those individual flooding ones right now in a second. But coastal rivers will rise. Urban and small stream flooding likely in the Willamette Valley. That's why we're asking people to keep your storm drains clear. Those catch basins, keep those clear. Typical spots where we are seeing flooding or we have seen flooding, we'll continue to see flooding with this happening. So flood watch goes into effect tonight through Thursday night now. So we're pushing this out till Thursday for the effects of this incoming atmospheric river. There are some areas that are already under a flood warning right now. This is getting updated pretty much consistently from the National Weather Service in Portland. The Wilson River at Tillamook is already seeing flooding. Grays River near Rossburg in Wahkiakum County in Southwest Washington, it's already seeing flooding. Johnson Creek at Sycamore, again, is seeing some flooding action. A lot of that probably is because there are lots of leaves that are falling off of trees, blocking storm drains, and we're seeing that type of flooding happen. But the Johnson Creek has always been one to really kind of rapidly rise. I will say this, shout out to the folks with the city of Portland and conservationists that have restored a lot of the wetlands around the Johnson Creek Basin that has cut down significantly on the amount of flooding on actual Johnson Creek. It does not mean that it will not flood or it hasn't flooded, because obviously we are seeing some flooding action right now. But shout out to those guys for making that happen, because that's really imperative to kind of keeping that creek from flowing, because that has been a problem for those of us that have been around for a long part of time here in Portland. You know how bad Johnson Creek gets. 82nd Avenue, especially right kind of in that low area where everything comes off of those hills in Clackamas County and South Multnomah County. They all kind of converge there. Johnson Creek at 82nd Avenue. So those areas are seeing flooding again. The Wilson at Tillamook, the Grays River near Rossburg and Wahkiakum County, and Johnson Creek at Sycamore. National Weather Service, like I said, is constantly updating these. So you want to make sure that you have downloaded the Storm Tracker 2 weather app. You can get your flood watches and warnings on that app. They will send them out in real time. As soon as the National Weather Service issues them, you'll receive them. So it's great to get the Storm Tracker 2 weather app. I have it on my phone. I love it. It is a really good app. Looking forward as we kind of go into Tuesday and Wednesday. Some of the models, like I was saying earlier, have kind of trended this thing a little bit wetter. So I think that this duration event is still on track. We're still going to start late tomorrow night into Tuesday, into Wednesday, but I think it might play out a little bit more. Some forecast models this morning are saying that the second half of this AR event, the moisture that's really out far in the Pacific, is actually going to be a little bit more potent in terms of amounts of rain coming than the initial wave that we will see tomorrow night into Tuesday. So something we are watching on that. Lots of flooding is still expected again. Coastal rivers, small streams, and then the urban areas. So you got to watch out for hydroplaning if you're driving to work to and from tomorrow and Tuesday morning, especially Tuesday afternoon as well. I will be back tomorrow. Sarah Bagby is in the rest of your day today on K2 News. Rhonda Shelby up live tomorrow at 4:30. She'll have the latest. Then I'll be in around 6. We'll have another update here on YouTube on the Morning Minute. Rhonda will have it covered on air. Sarah today as well. So we appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have comments or questions, please drop them in the chat. I'll hop in a few times this afternoon and try and answer them. We appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will talk with you soon.